Hey guys, welcome back. We are starting with a game. We're gonna go with Manchester United. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's in second place in Premier League, I think, at this point, and we're gonna try to recreate what he has done in Manchester United. It's very easy because the cool thing with the Manchester United thing is that the players have the player instruction. You don't need to have a lot of player instruction to make it happen. Okay, one thing you have to know with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, before I sat down built this tactic, I was thinking, for example, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's playing a lot of counter-attacking football and this and that, and you have to go back to the straight and see, okay, they are the team that have the third most possession in the league. So that was something you have to think about. And some other thing that was important is that when I took this, when I made this tactic, I didn't adjust from game to game. I played it all the time, so I didn't went into the half in the game and just ticket something away and made this happen, made this for winning the games. It was more making the tactic. A little bit stupid, but that's true. Okay, so one thing here is that I think you're thinking, what is all these player rules here? But okay, to start with it, guys, is he sends off Wan-Bissaka up when he has the ball. He does that, so therefore he's a wing back in support. But he doesn't have, for example, I went and saw where have Wan-Bissaka sent all of his crosses from. It's almost from this point, all of them. This point. So what I had to do then was take few risks. Because one thing also is with the Manchester United that not only with Wan-Bissaka is players such as Pogba, Fernandes, and sometimes Maguire are the players who hit the ball, who make those passes that goes through true passes and things like that, especially Fernandes. And the shooters in the team are Rashford, Immobile, Cavani, of course, and a little bit Greenwood, for example, from the left side. And Luke Shaw is the player who comes up, who makes some passes. Based on he's not that fast in the game, I think, Luke Shaw operates both inside and outside here. He stands a lot. If you can watch his key passes in the game, he stands here and he passes through balls like on the lap for Rashford, for example. Maguire would play at the left side, but I didn't make it work at the left side. He started losing the ball as I used him as a ball playing mid defender in the left. He went wild in here and lost the ball a lot of time. It didn't look like Maguire in the game, so I had to change him to the right side, and that worked well. And something else is that, for example, is if you look at the heat map is normally in the game, is that Wan-Bissaka comes up and he keeps the white of the game. Okay, so that's why Wan-Bissaka, we're using him as a wing back in support. We are asking this perfect player not to take more risks because he's gonna keep it easy. He's gonna pass it simple. He's not going to cross that much because he doesn't cross that much. The player with most crosses in this team is Luke Shaw. And something else, Manchester United is the team, I think, with the fewest crosses in the league. They have the fewest crosses in the league. So you have to also make a tactic that they don't cross that much. So I don't want those wing backs coming up and cross the ball that much. The other point is that he crosses by line. Of course, he's going to cross from this point. So you hit it so he doesn't start crossing the ball from deep. He stay wider, and he's the player with Fred that normally plays Hero McTominay who have the most tackles in the game. I ask him to tackle harder because I also think when he conducts a tackle he really goes in for it. So, but it has it already dives into tackle. So the other part is, for example, here I want him to dribble more or mark title. Dribble more, not to dribble more, but just get higher up in the field. Again, when you use him at the left side, he can do some crazy thing. But at the right, it went okay. This is, in the other hand, Lindelof that keeps the easy, simple passes so they can build up from behind. Luke Shaw at the left. I used Telles more. I think he was better in the game if you want. But let's keep focus on the tactic. He takes more risk because you want him to pass more and take more risk, you know. This is the deep line playmaker. Okay, when you use McTominay, for example, in this role, you can use him as a center midfielder in support or a central midfielder in defense. And the same thing with Fred. But when you use Matic, or I bought in Diawara to get it a little more exciting here, use it as a deep line playmaker. He closed down more because this player in this position is normally the defensive player who have to clean up for Fernandes and Pogba. Pogba, on the other hand, he stays very wide in the game, especially to the right side. So you will have a triangle with Greenwood and, for example, Wan-Bissaka coming up here. Wan-Bissaka comes up and he doesn't do anything. He's like a wall here. So Fernandes and Pogba can use him and get the ball back. So one of these two players make it happen. So Pogba is at the right side, staying wider. And we can see by his numbers, guys, he had 8 assists. I think it's okay. Remember, the other player then is Greenwood. That his point is Asensio. We ask him to stay wider because both of the wingers in their sides stays wider, but they come in, but they stand wider, especially at the right side. He stays wider. He comes more in this room. Yes, of course, he's also inside the box, but he's not an inside forward because he's more here to build a triangle with Pogba and Fernandes. But we ask him to stay wider, especially also to not to go in his room, and already one other playmaker up here. And in Marco's specific position, that is the right wing back, left wing back. The reason I had to do this just was because my wing back didn't work that much back against 3-5-2, and I'm going to show you why. Because we have some opposition instructions that can maybe be diffusing, and the players will be a little bit act strangely. But you want them to, when you play against a 3-back line, have the focus on bringing the wing backs down, because you don't want one-on-one here. Okay, sorry. The other one is Bruno Fernandes. He's I had never used this before, and the reason I use this and not a Trequista or advanced playmaker is very easy. Because when you see Bruno Fernandes, I am not agreeing with someone who said to me he moves into the box. He doesn't do that. He works outside the box here. Okay, so you want someone who can work here, outside here. He's mostly at the right side, but he can also go here. He stands in the room, in the space. Also, as you can see here, he has tries killer balls often. So he does that in reality. He has the most killer balls, I think, in the Premier League almost. And yeah, and so he also have the shoots from distance. And he argues with the that's not so important. Plays 1-2s and gets the crowd going. So those are all those things we know, and we can see from the stats of Manchester United that Bruno Fernandes does. And as you can see here, 10 goals and 15 assists. How did he score goals? Normally back passes when Wan-Bissaka was here to Asensio or to Pogba, and then to Fernandes, and a long shot and was goal. Or from left side it was a pass from Rashford, and he started making some movements in this way, but it was most of the shots from here, and he had a lot of assists that came through free play. So what I could have more from Fernandes was maybe some more assists, but as you can see here, XG was 869. So, and he scored 4 goals on penalties. And the other thing is why I didn't use Trequista was if you can go here, you can see something special with him. Okay, if you go here, guys, you can use, for example, watching Trequista here, guys. The Trequista is, how can I say it? Bruno Fernandes is also a player who tackle a lot. Okay, a Trequista doesn't tackle hard. Okay, he's not so much engaged in the defensive part. But how do you say it? Engage. He does that. He's more better in the defensive part of the game. He take more direct passes. He take more risks as he does in the game. He shoots more often. He's roam from positions that we have asked him to do, of course. He tackles harder. He takes more risk. He dribble less, and that is something Bruno Fernandes doesn't dribble that much. He's a standing player and passing it through when they don't find the rooms, especially against teams who park the bus. He's the guy with the pass who opens up. He's the guy with the long shots who open up the goal, and he holds the position. But don't misunderstand the whole holding the position, guys. He's not just standing here. He's moving around the 16-yard box here. So he's going meter box. So he's gonna move there, and I think the numbers showed that was right, and he also scored more. So, but if you had used a Trequista here, guys, you would have more direct pass to take more risks, shoot more often, roam from position. Then he would start to roam more to the flanks as well. Bruno doesn't do that. and take more risk, dribble more, and he doesn't dribble more. So you have a little bit of problems with those things, and he moves into channel, and he doesn't do that. He stands outside the 16 meter. So yeah, that was one of the reasons. I didn't believe it myself, but when I did it, it was okay. It was that one, and he scored a lot of goals as well too. And you can also then you hit it for yourself then. When you can come here, you have also can ask him to shoot more often. No, sorry, shoot more often. You ask him to more direct passes, shoot more often, tackle harder, because he's one of the players who also, with Diawara and Wan-Bissaka, tackles more and wins the ball. Rashford at the left, he's more inside forward. I didn't make the goals come from this side that much. 10 goals. He scored 17 last year, but he was striker last year, okay? So anyway, he plays at the left. You ask him to stay wider. I did take it away, or no, he stands wider anyway in the game. He comes in here. If you ask him to stay wider, it can work as well, but you will have a little bit problem based on getting into the box, because he can sometimes start to dribble at the left, even though he's an inside forward. But against teams you have possession, it works well. He marks tighter and he marks specific person. That's also the same thing with the wing back. He's marking the wing back at the right side. The other players, as you can see, we went with him, and the last one is Cavani. Is Cavani a pressing forward, or is he a poacher? Okay, he works hard, so we agree with that one. So he works harder, so we ask him to mark tighter, tackle harder, and he gets more forward, as you can see here. With the poacher duty, I got this player to perform better. I had Cavani, but I went to vacation mode, holiday mode, from game to game, because I wanted to finish the season, and I only controlled the games here. I didn't do much on training and nothing else. So you can see the results afterwards, and you can see that's impressive results, and you can use here if you have time to work with it. 19 games and 14 goals, and I got a lot from Cavani, but some I forgot to take away don't sell my players. So suddenly I came back, I saw that Cavani was sold to Arsenal, so I had to get new poachers, and you had to use that money here. Yeah, so that was the one. You can see the tactical team instruction. We played balanced. Balance is here, guys. I don't want the players to take more risk. It's not about how offensive it plays. We don't want them to take risk, because we want Pogba to take the risk. We want Fernandes to take the risk from the left side. We want Luke to take the risk, as you can see here. Take more risk, you know. So those other players, they will not take that risk, okay? Why do we play much shorter passing? Because they don't want to cross the ball much, and the thing is that I need the ball to be here at this part, okay? So when you go much shorter passing with lower tempo here, and we play more narrow, these two players, when you play, I had a very hard time understanding this in Football Manager myself, so I can tell you this one. Okay, when you play much shorter, you're asking your players, don't pass the ball forward, take your time, keep the ball in the team, pass to the nearest person. But who doesn't do that? Your playmakers. So of course Fernandes will not do it, Pogba will not do it, but Diawara will do it, because he's in defensive mode here, and he also isn't that kind of player. He plays short, simple passes. So I didn't need to ask him for anything else. He will play simple passes. That's why I also had to bring in Diawara. But you ask Shaw, he doesn't do that, because he takes more risk. So you take this one, so you ask your team to have these players, and those players maybe with attacking duty here to take more risk. But these players, he's a poacher. He's not in the game when you have the ball. He's there when you have the ball, but he's not involved with the ball. He's more involved in the room. He's attacking space. He's want to score the goals. He's also coming here and want to score the goals. So you have him here. But these players mostly is these two players, and Luke Shaw is taking those key passes, and that's what you want to do. So it's in a way to work with the play engine. You have to do that way. I know they don't play very, very short passer with the lower tempo. Why do we play with the lower tempo? Because we see in the games the team goes fast forward, they go fast forward and they attack, they have pacey players. Yes, they have it, but the other thing is that if you go for too high tempo here, guys, you will see Maguire starting counterattacks for you. He will puff it up, fool it up. You will have players like, for example, Pogba. When you have the ball here, come with long balls. You don't want that. Even though we have taken much shorter passing, I had to adjust it to a lower tempo to make that 1-2-1-2 here, so we can get a lot of through balls from Fernandes at this part of the game and Pogba. So I had to sacrifice the build up for that one, but we do something else to balance that. What you do is that you ask them to take counterattacks. So you are balancing that part of the game. What else do we do? We have also played more narrow, because when you are playing much shorter and they are not playing that wide, the focus of Manchester United is Rashford, is Immobile, coming here, attacking those spaces where Fernandes and Pogba can, for example, cross the ball from here to here, from the right to left, a long ball, shot comes up, underlap Rashford and go. I tried with underlap, I didn't make it. It didn't make it. But I really wanted to have more underlap at the left, to be honest. Anyway, we work the ball into you can also go with this one. You can go, and especially against, believe it or not, especially against, if I wanted results, I would do this against teams who play gegenpress. Because especially with Manchester United, you don't have that kind of players who can go with the gegenpress, because their concentration, and they, as you can see here, concentration 9 is decision 12. This is one of your playmakers, vital playmakers. You can go to Bruno Fernandes, concentration 14, decisions 12. So when they come under pressure and they try to make some passes forward, they're gonna do crazy things. So for example, when I did that once in the game, I played against Liverpool, for example, I had this on. And we were 3-0 down, we came to 3-3. So because all of the goals that came against us was in the build-up normally. So when we have that, they started to keep the ball more. You send the Liverpool players, Salah and Mane, for example, longer down the field. You made them defend more, and you had the ball. So okay, how do you do it when in transition? You have the ball with the counter press. Of course, when you lose the ball, you have the counter press, because they try to do that. They have been better in it, but they are not the best. They are not Manchester City, but still they are using the counter press when they lose the ball. When they have the ball from the goalkeeper, I know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he wants to play it down to these three players. I know De Gea is not that safe with the ball, and that's what you can see in the game. De Gea is not that safe with the ball. He takes short kicks. And also when you don't have the ball, you have the defensive line high, you have the line of engagement higher, nothing more. This is not Leeds United, so you have much higher. Force opposition outside, and this is something I had to take the freedom to do it, because if you don't do this, you play more wider. As you can see, you don't have a defensive player here, and also you're gonna be, if I hadn't bring in Skriniar, maybe it would work, for example. But Maguire here is not that pacey guy, guys. And Reacreation 10, you're playing higher up in the field. We ask him to go wider. They play very small. You remember the Tottenham game? You remember that? When Wan-Bissaka was at the right side, he was a wing back in that game, not the right back. But he was almost here. He was standing like a center defender. And I know Norwegian coaches love that. For example, when they don't have the ball, they play very compact, deep and small. They do that in Norway as well, as you can see the national team. They had a Swedish coach, I think. But anyway, it's very similar to that. And also we have something more here. He asked De Gea to take less few risks, because he's very bad with the ball. Keep it simple, De Gea. Okay, and set pieces, I'm not going to go into that one, but we also have the opposition instructions, as you can see here. What we do here is that we want to have a maximal force. You want to mark out their full back so they don't come up and make overlaps for you, so you want to have them mark, as well as you want the wing back. That's why but I also want pressure on the DS left and DSR, not the central defender, because if they use a 3-line of defense, your striker will be crazy. And that's the point that confuses some of the players, because when you play a DSL here, you want to pressure the DSL. Sometimes your right wing can come up and pressure him. You don't want that, because you want your right wing to be more focused on the wing back at the left, especially when they are playing a 3-back line. So that's why I had that marker specific person. But the pressure high here. But what you want pressure higher up in the field. So you can just see this. You can pressure higher up in the field, and when you pressure high up in the field, what they will do when you have so fast players as Manchester United had, they will hit you long balls, okay, from defense, and then you mark their offensive central players, because when you lose the ball, or when you don't have the ball, right? When you don't have the ball is here. Their winger is back in their field, so he's not an object of that will be hit. You know, let's say that we are a team that can offensive attack. When these players are coming down here to defend, these players are gonna follow you automatically. They will follow your wing backs or fullbacks or complete fullback. What you're gonna use, your back's gonna be followed by the wingers. So they are low in the field. So if you lose the ball, you can use this a lot if you're gonna play possession football. If you lose the ball outside this area here, then pressure those players, because then they will hit their points faster in a way. So when they lose the ball, they couldn't go to the wide players who can come out there and cross. They will hit it high, and they will try to hit, for example, their striker or offensive midfielder. But then you have players like Skriniar here with a jumping of 16, and you have Maguire here with the jumping of 16. In that way, we didn't need to take that many runs backwards of the field, because the long ball came, he went up and cleaned up. That was very important, since we didn't have a defensive midfielder in front of here to active defense. So when you are giving away this room here, you need to have a higher pressure. So when the long ball comes, you force the long ball, and you force that long ball into the center area of the field, and you win it again. I'm just going to show you the league, guys. As I said, I didn't adjust game to game. I just went and play. We had 3 losses, we had 7 draws, and we had who did we lose again? Manchester City and Liverpool. And we lost the league with 1 point against Liverpool. But with 91 points, normally in 38 games, that's extremely well. You will normally win the league easily. But here we became hardly in the second place. 2 points in front of Manchester City, 1 point behind here. Had I adjusted in the game, guys, had I gone in and had a real good training sessions before the game, and adjusted a little bit more from game to game. So if you're going to use the tactic was really good. You score some nice goals, and you can see the stats here. Team overview, most points, of course it was them. Most shots, we came at the 3rd place. Pass completion, it's not so much important, but one of the most important thing is our possession. Did we come for 2nd place? But normally Manchester United have, I think, 53 possession, and we got a little bit higher with 57. So if you go to the player overview, you can see that most assists came from Bruno Fernandes, and that's something that can really happen in the real life. What more can we say? Most key passes came from Bruno Fernandes. 3rd was from Bruno Fernandes. De Bruyne bet him to that, and Salah. I don't think Salah makes so many. Strange. Okay. Anyway, guys, the formation is good. You can also see the squad. I think I didn't. You have some players. I think with which teams you can do this to. If you want to play possession, you don't have that players with that concentration, things like that. You can do it this way. And one other player that really played well was, he got injured, but McTominay was really good. I used him as a central midfielder in defense when he played here, at a deep line playmaker. When you do that, you will see the game go faster, because of deep line playmaker, we hold the ball a little bit more, and it will slow down the pace, but not the central midfield defense. He gave the ball fast to Pogba and Bruno Fernandes, and things happened more faster. So, and we also use Alex Telles at the left. So let's say he is our Luke Shaw. He gave 8 assists and 1 goal. So Luke Shaw plays in with a not as good version as Marcelo, but Marcelo at his best. You remember he worked a lot both inside and outside, and he's a little bit that kind of player. He's not a fullback that comes and overlap you all the time. So I think we got that part. So anyway, guys, I hope you liked it. If you liked it, hit the like buttons. If you don't like it, please don't hit the like button. Thank you, guys.